So when I had first come to Wild Warrior Adventure, I was at a point in my life where I really had to step away from a lot of things because I was just self-destructing. Things had kind of fallen apart. We had to make a pretty tough move back to Colorado from California. I had lost a lot of hope, and it actually put me in a pretty dark spot where I found myself in front of my wife, looking to take my own life. And God really got a hold of me. And when we got back to Colorado, this opportunity to go to Wild Warrior was presented to me. And my first initial thought was like, okay, I'm gonna go fly fish. I love fly fishing, and I'm gonna show up, and it's just gonna be another veterans trip, and we're gonna get a cool experience. And when I got here, there's that initial standoffishness that veterans and service members have a tendency to generate within those initial engagements, but pretty quickly those walls began to fall down, and I began to realize that I wasn't the only one who was struggling. And as these guys began to tell their stories, it began to give me confidence to be able to share what had happened to me, what was going on in my life. And by the end of the trip, I had personally made friends. I mean, there's guys within that trip that I continue to keep in touch with to this day. And after I walked away from it, and I began to realize what I was doing to my wife, what I was doing to my kids, because I was stuck in such a woe is me cycle and mentality. And at the end of that week, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to start a new life. Nobody had ever told me I could hit the reset button and start over and start doing it right. Everybody just said, oh, you got to fix this. You've got to fix that. It wasn't about fixing it. Sometimes it was just about doing something a little different. And I was able to go home and start doing things differently. I was starting to treat my wife differently. I was starting to treat my kids differently. And it's been a journey. It's been a process. But when I left, I said, this is what I needed. And this is what I want to share with my brothers in arms who had been through some of the same things that I was struggling with. God really opened up that door for me to be able to come and be a part of this. And I came back a second time and was able to bring some friends with me who I knew were struggling through some of the same things I was struggling with, because I wanted them to experience what I had experienced. And it turns out that's one of the magical pieces, just one of the really beautiful pieces of Wild Warrior Adventure, is that when these guys leave here, they become our greatest advocates, and they get to go say to their buddies and the people they served with and their friends within their community and say, I want you to try this. I want you to have a piece of this. So I was able to bring those friends back, and then I continued to come back again and again. And then I was invited to be a wingman to help lead one of these trips. And I continued to invest myself in this because I believed in this process. I knew what it was capable of in my life, and I wanted that for every guy who shows up on one of these trips. I had started on a journey that became an adventure of a lifetime. And I wanted others to experience that too. And I continued to just pour into this and invest. And God really opened up the door even more for me to be able to step up in leadership and find ways to continue to keep this program going and make it better and bigger and bring more guys in. I mean, really our ultimate goal is that if we can just bring one guy in here and change his life for the better, and it's not us changing his life, it's God changing his life, but if his life can be changed for the better and he goes home and he makes those impacts and he continues to carry that forward, that's all we could really hope for. But in the end, we want to be able to share this with every veteran, every service member who is struggling, not just with combat, but with life, not just with the stressors of military life, but with everything that they deal with on a day-to-day basis and the wounds that were inflicted from when they were a child until now. To be able to get that out on the table and trust other men be able to handle that story, their story, with honor and with dignity. Every time I come to one of these, I make new friends. I make new brothers. People that I'm going to love and care about for the rest of my life, and people that I know that I'm going to be able to see again one day. If not on this earth, not in this life, then in the next. That's why I continue to do this, is because I care so much. And I so much want to see people receive the impact that I received during this week.